Okay, assalamu alaikum everyone. So, you guys are my competition heads, right? And I'm your category head, Huda, of the arts category. And basically, you are going to be overseeing the judges' training and you will be helping the judges in each of your competitions, okay? So, in order to actually train them, so the judges' training will happen an hour before your competition, okay? So obviously, in order to train them, I have to train you. So that's basically why you're here today watching this PowerPoint. Okay, so MIST is during the dates of April 5th to 7th. Our competition's chair is Salha, and this is our email, competitions at missdallas.com. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for volunteering, and the obviously you should thank your judges, and I'm also thanking you for helping make this possible. So just remind your judges that they're serving as role models to Miss competitors, so that their feedback is very important, and also the way that they present themselves is also important, since these competitors look up to them. Okay, so again, the date is April 57th, and you're going to have to go over the schedule, which is TBA. It's to be established a little bit later. So make sure that they have their parking passes printed. Um, I will be sending it out an email before the competition to remind them to print out their parking pass. And if they don't print out their parking pass, then on Friday to Saturday, they're going to have to park in green or pay by space. Also, this applies to you guys as well. And on Sunday, you can park anywhere. Again, food will be served as long as you have your ID on you. And then before the judges come, they have to make sure to review the rules and ballot in a rule book. So my recommendation is just to email all your judges in advance with the rule book, with the ballot, with the parking pass, with a map of UTD, and some reminders such as, for example, bring your phone or tablet, and that pen and paper will be provided. And also the dress code would be a good thing to include in your email as well. So the dress code is business professional and modest. And some other things you should include in your email is to arrive 1 hour ahead of the competition, because that is when the training is coming. So honestly, I would even say 1.5 hours early before the competition, just to add some buffer time in. So the first thing that they have to do is they have to go to check-in, and then they're going to receive their ID badge. You also will have to come to check-in and get your ID badge, because you're going to tell them to arrive 1.5 hours earlier. You're also going to have to arrive 1.5 hours early at least. Okay, so once you go to check-in, you will be directed to your competition's room, and you'll receive any materials that you need for your competition. And again, this is going to happen in the judges' room, which is JSOM 2.103. You're also going to be receiving, your judges will be receiving student roster, which has all the students' missed IDs on them. There will be 3 judges in total, but in the email you can include there will be 1 to 2 other judges with you. It's important for the judges to introduce themselves to each other. And they are going to be able to start as soon as the listed time of their competition begins. Okay, so each student has their own unique ID instead of their name, and the first 4 denote the school. So, for example, BHA might have 4106, while ISI might have 6102. And the judges have to make sure that the ID has to be included in the ballot, and names should not be mentioned. If a student is tardy, they might be in another competition, so just allow them, just skip them and go to the next competitor. If they're still absent for 10 minutes, deduct points. And then I think the points is 5, but we'll go over that later. If the competitor does not show up at all, just mark that on the ballot. The judges have to make sure that all ties have been broken for all places, 1, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and no decimals can be used. And they have to give good and bad feedback. And if bad feedback is given, the students like to be given an explanation as to why on their ballots. And then if feedback is given in the competition room. For example, I know that most of our arts competitions have feedback. The other competitors should not be in the room when the feedback is being given, and the feedback should be limited for 1 to 2 minutes. And this is just the basic procedure. There will be a judge number one, and judge number one will be leading the panel. So when you're sending out these emails, make sure that you tell the judges who judge number one is and who judge number two, three, and the backup judge is. So the judge number one is going to be responsible for getting the folder from the judge's room, which has all the ballots and other miscellaneous materials. And all judges have to be in the room at least 15 minutes before the competition time. They have to check the competitor's ID as they enter the room, and they have to know any late entrances. If a student is past 10 minutes late, then they're allowed to dock 5 points. Anyone who claims to be on the roll or the sheet or the student ID sheet and is supposed to be registered for this competition but isn't, you have to leave them to judge last. So the competition head, which is going to be you guys, can inquire and confirm what to do. So basically, if a student comes in and then they're not on the roll sheet, they have to judge them last, and just to get some time to figure out what to do with that student. So they're going to be going to you to ask, like, what do we do with that student? If you don't know, then you have to come to me. So just to remind you judges to avoid personal bias and inform the competition's head if one of your relatives is competing, and to avoid gestures that can be misunderstood as favoritism, such as greeting one competitor and not the others, acknowledging a competitor by their name, and speaking with competitors outside the competition's rooms pretty casually. So after the judges submit the ballots. Okay, I don't think I've been clear about what the ballots are exactly. So the ballots are basically a sheet where all the judges write down their points, their feedback for the competitors. Okay, so after submitting the ballots, the competition judges cannot discuss the competition with anyone other than the competition's director, which includes the competitor's performance, the ballots, the scoring, and other judges' comments. However, the judges are allowed to offer professional advice outside the competition. I'm going over the theme. The theme is the honor of humility, discovering dignity, and challenging pride. Okay, so your helpline. You're going to be explaining to your judges that each competition is overseen by a category head, which is me, and the competition head, which is you, and that they should have the contact information of the category head and the competition head that is responsible for the competition you are judging. They are judging. And they have to call the competition head first if they run into any problems, and then the category head if they don't answer or if they don't know. Or no, actually, if they don't know, the competition head, would come to me, the category head, instead of the judge having to make that communication. So do that email that you're going to send before the competition. Make sure that you have all the information within that email, including communication information. So my number, my email. Your number and your email. And then in conclusion, just a reminder, take the contact information of the category head and the competition head. So mine and your information, the judges have to have. Thank them for the time and remind them to keep their ID on them at all times. This also goes for you guys. So that's basically it. Let me know if you have any questions. And please make sure to send out an email with all this information kind of summarized to your judges beforehand. And if you need anything, just don't be afraid to PM me. And we are going to be going over this training presentation. Well, you guys will be 1 hour before your competition, but it's good to just have kind of like a summarized form written in email and sent that to them ahead of time. All right, thank you guys.